Hello, hello, hello. Today we are working on a Christmas stocking. And so the stocking that we're working on is by Tilda Fabrics. And it is absolutely adorable. But this thing is going to be huge. So I'm getting started with each of the parts. It's a different type of pattern, so I'm going to be playing a little bit of a guessing game as I put this together. So I have all of my parts already cut out for this. And this is a free pattern by Tilda. So they show you exactly what you need to do, and then they show you how to put it together in parts. So you're basically following the pattern yourself to determine what it's going to look like when you put this together. So I'm going to start with the first section. And those are A, B, C, D, F. E is in here as well. Here it is right there. So A, B, C, D, F. A, B, C, D, E, F. So C is going to consist of the leaves. And they are going to have like a little bit of a snowball effect. And just change out my bobbin because I didn't do that. Let me change my foot. So this is, for me, I'm calling this Christmas in July. So I am working on either Christmas presents or I am working on Christmas decor. So this could be a present. This could be decor. It's going to depend on which way I feel when Christmas comes around. So I will tell you that I do make a lot of stuff. And sometimes I need a last minute Christmas gift. And what a perfect thing to give would be something that I have on hand that I could say, here you go, last minute Christmas present. And it may be a little bit more expensive on the back end than something that I would normally buy for somebody. So you may luck up with what could be a $100 gift. So in order to make these snowball corners for these leaves, we need 3 of them. I'm going to take each one of these corners. My main body is going to be white, even though on here it's red. I could turn to the right white one, but I figure, what the heck, I'll just leave it on this one. And I like to pinch. You could draw a diagonal line from corner to corner. I just pinch or finger press. And then I can lay it on the square. And I'm just going to stitch this So I'm going to go ahead and get all of these done just to get them out of the way. And so I can do one side and then go back and do the other. And I'll keep the directions up on my iPad just so that I am following them correctly. And I can see the order to know what order that it's going to go in. But I'm following those leaves and I'm doing those leaves first. So again, I'm just finger pressing. For the line, you could actually draw the lines. I'm not doing all that. On bigger pieces of fabric, I would actually draw the line. But when it's this small, either I can finger press these from corner to corner, or I can eyeball them and see them. So that would be perfect either way. And these are going to get these in opposite corners. If I were doing a snowball block, they would get it in every corner, or square to square. So again, just folding, finger press. I think there are a total of 7 leaves for this. Now, in the pattern, even though on this it shows that they all kind of look alike, for her pattern, she does a different, or they do, let me not assume gender, they do a different print for each one. So I am using her guide for the pattern, but I am using scraps of fabric that I have to complete this. So whatever was in the scraps, that's what we're using. So I could take this like this. If you have other methods, there's tape, there are lasers that you can use. You can finger press, you could draw, whatever it takes to get you from one corner to the other. That's what you want to do. Now tell me why. My other scissors are all the way over there and some of them are buried. Okay, so everything for the first side is chain pieced. And then we're gonna go back and do the other side. And then after we do that, we will press them, and then this unit, that unit will be done. So I'm just snipping. And then we'll come back and do the other side. Okay, so opposite corners. And it's just, since there's no overlapping that's occurring, no seams that I'm crossing, I can go ahead and get both of these done. Rather than working on them individually. Now it is all things Christmas in this house. So since it's all things Christmas in this house, I'm trying to decide like where this is gonna go. I do have a quilt that I finished. I believe I finished it. It was a block of the month. These are the fabrics that are left over upon the completion of that. And what I am doing, what I may do is that might go in the, I don't know. It might go in the, I call it the spare bedroom. I might put it there. I don't know. Or I may bring it downstairs. Who knows? Trying to decide. Some of my Christmas decorations could probably go to Goodwill by now. And then I could probably use a different thing. How are you doing, Miss Cassie? Happy Friday Eve. Why am I one short? Like, leave it to me. So we are continuing with Tilda. And we are making a Christmas stocking. And like that pillow, I don't know. Tilda must say go big or go home. because this is a big pillow. This is a big stocking. So I don't know if I like my kids that much to make a stocking. Let me see what D1.5. I just need one more. Yes, happy Friday. My rollers slid down. That one's done. I have one more that I have to do because somewhere in here I have a tendency not to count. So I did not count. So we are going to make another one, and again, it's okay for this particular pattern to talk about the measurements of the pieces, of the units, because this is a free pattern. So again, this is Tilda Fabrics, Tilda World. It is a free pattern. And this is a little bit more than beginner. Because it does have a lot of pieces, a lot of individual pieces, but it's a good way. Like I would say a confident beginner. What message? Did I miss something?
We have an important...
Oops. RV, you sent me a message? Because, you know, I can be, you know, a little bit not paying attention. What am I doing up so late? Girl, please, stop. Stop it. I am off for the summer. And so what I tend to do, I'm just going to cut these little edges off. Because I don't need them. I'm off for the summer. And my schedule is like really thrown off. Like I went out today. We had, my girlfriend and I, we went over to Jersey to the outlets. And we picked up a couple cases at the local watering hole. And for some, you know, relaxation over the weekend. Not that, you know, I indulge like that. And I came home and took a nap. So my goal was to get up earlier, but that didn't happen because I let the naps do what they do in the summertime. Now during the school year, I nap as well, but I don't nap as long because I want to make sure that I get my sleep. So I'm refreshed for the little honeys in the morning. So I cut off right at the seam about 1/4 inch. And then what we're going to do is press these open so that we get something that looks like this. Now, I don't like the fact that I am backwards. I keep forgetting to switch my mirror. Yeah, I like that better. Hello, Miss Karen. How are you? So I have 7 of these leaves. I laid everything out here. And I don't have to do all 7, but I need at least 3 of them done. This has been a great day. Any day that I get out the house and I say I'm going outside is a good day. Not that I can't get out, but I will, you know, I'll keep myself in the house and I'll do sewing and things like that. I finished a pillow. I was on yesterday. I quilted it. And finished the entire thing. So I'll be taking pictures of that. So this is, I added the pillow is to my pillows is to my quilted project stash. This is, I have 2 bins of Christmas fabric because I buy Christmas fabric all the time. So I do have 2 bins of that. So I did not go out shopping for fabric. I did stay away from that. I should be shop hopping this week. One of my friends caught me to do something other than shop hopping today. So I did not shop hop today. Which is a good thing. I do have a place in Delaware that I want to go, and well, I have a couple places in Delaware, but one is like definitely on my list to visit. I just learned some information about the shop owner that I didn't know, and I was like, oh, I have to get down there. So I'm going to go and do that. I may do it Saturday, I'm debating, or I may take a long ride on Saturday. So usually I work out on Saturdays. I did not commit myself to working out tomorrow morning because that way I don't have to work out on Saturday and I can take all Saturday to do something else. Okay, so all of these are pressed. And again, I'm focusing on just this part. And I have everything already cut out so that I know how it's going together. We don't have them all cut out because I have one more right here. Well, not all cut out and pressed. Okay. And we'll take care of that one in a minute. We'll put that on the ironing board so that we see exactly what that is. So we have C. Okay, I lucked up on that one. Woo, because I was not paying attention. Okay, so this is C here. This is that one there. And this here. So I'm just kind of following the layout. And then E goes here. So that next unit is going to look like that. And I'm right in here. So that means that these two need to go together first, and then we'll put all these units together. We'll make sure that everything is the way it's supposed to be. And then we'll put the units together. So I I don't know, and I would need to look at the directions again, but it looked like when I was looking at the directions, it was like there was some level of, you're going to figure this out on your own. And I was like, okay. So I'll have to go back and look at it again. But I put enough patterns together like this that I can see how it's supposed to go together. Okay. So this is the top part. So that's B with C up here. I'm going to press these seams open. And I can finger press them. Again, this is a big Christmas stocking. This is by Tilda. And we're piecing it together with a bird in the center. So we're working on the first part or the first unit for the front of the stocking. And I can lay those units out so that I can see which way they go and make sure I'm not messing something up, which I think I did. I'm gonna hold off on this one. Let me do another one. Thank God I have more to make. I don't have to seam rip that. This should have went this way. This should go like that. Okay. But I think for me, whether I follow the directions or whether I have to follow the layout that they provide, laying it back out so that I can see it allows me to see if I made mistakes before I get too far in. The also good thing is that I could have left the leaf the way it was and just had something that looked different from the pattern. Because once I hang it up, nobody would know the difference. Okay, there we go. So you can see it starting to come together now. So then this goes with this. Now, I will say that this did have European measurements. So when I cut out the template for the bottom of the stocking, the foot part, and I went to measure it because I will do that much. How about it was too small, and I was like, I know I set this printer up correctly. And here I used letter, and it was supposed to be A4 because that's how they put their patterns together. And so I did have to go back in and change it to A4. That meant I cut off a little bit of the bottom of the boot, but that's okay. I can account for that when I go to cut it out. But that was a lesson for me because, you know, we assume that all patterns are regular US measures, and they're not always that way. So read the directions. Okay, so that looks like that so far. So there are some small pieces with this. So I did label everything. I have it sitting right next to my machine. So that I can get them as I need them. Okay, and that goes here. So in the blank spots, there's going to be a little circle, and I am going to decide whether I want that to be a button or actual applique. If it's applique, I have to cut all those little puppies out and do some stitching, and I don't know that I want to do that when I possibly have buttons. Okay, so that looks like that. So far, so good. And the section of the two sides, this unit is complete. We're gonna open up. The thing for me with opening up seams is that I do like to finger press them open first. And I just feel like it's a little tedious, but that's because I'm used to keeping my seams closed. Okay, so it looks like this. And then we need to find A and F. A and F. F is on this side, A is on this side. Why do I have two A's? Because this is for another piece. That's like that one. So I'll leave that down there. And then we will bring these two together. So the great thing about this is that good directions are good directions, whether they give them to you in English, in a different language, with just pictures. If you can follow it, it works. Okay. So that's there. And then we'll add this one onto this side. And then the first unit will be done. And then we can go right on to the second unit. So the way that Tilda has this set up, you can do this in a couple different colorways. So you absolutely do not have to have a white stocking. Your stocking could be whatever color you like it to be. So then that's the unit. And again, you can tell just by how wide this is, it's going to be a big stocking. Okay, and we'll press those. Get rid of a couple of those threads. And again, we'll take this to our iron and we'll press. You'll make your decisions on whether your seams are pressed open or closed. These I'm just pressing closed or pressing to one side. And then here we go with that unit. Okay, so this unit is complete. There are more pieces in here because of the bird that we need to do. So we're going to breathe. We're starting in the center to build out this bird. So we've done A, B, C, D, E, F. This is G, H, I, J. I don't know if I have enough I's. So I may have to cut out another I, J, K, L. So I can see where the units are that I need to put together. So M has 2 K's down here. J has a K up here and an I over here. L is a half square triangle unit. They told me that earlier. So this is what I need to put together for the bird's body. Hey, Miko, how are you doing, Tim? Like Miko. I can't call you Miko. Okay. M. So M is here. And we have K. And this is going to be the bird's body. So we are going to finger press. Stop it. RV, this is not difficult. And so far I've been working through this with no problem, right? So it's just, and I have to look at the directions, but to see like if they're there, whoops, the thread came out. To see if they're there, but this is an easy follow. So I'm not looking at the directions to see what I need to do. Because I can follow the diagram, and if it's well labeled, then I should be able to do it. Now, the only thing is that, and that's where it's like, it's not a confident beginner or beginner pattern, is the fact that a normal person who's making something might not know how to look at the pattern and figure it out. So you would need some sort of guide to help you figure those, like to start in the middle, start on the end, like where does it make sense? Like it's like fitting a puzzle piece together. This is a bigger square, so I'm going to draw a line. This is going to be a half square triangle because I did read the directions. Okay. So we've done this side, this side. And so this is going to go that way. Let me do the other half of the half square triangle. I only need one, but I'm just going to go ahead and do the other one. And we're going to cut that right on the cutting line that we drew. We'll lay that over there just for a sec. And that's our half square triangle. And then what we will do is cut this off. And again, we're leaving about a 1/4 inch. Cut off those extra tails. And then this is the bottom of the body. Okay, so it matches that. So we'll press the bottom of the body. We'll pass this half square triangle. Knowing me, I'm gonna have to size it. And I may have to look for that. I wanna say it was 2 inches. It's probably 2. Okay, so that's the bottom half of that body. So that's K and M. L is, yeah, 2 inches. Okay. And this is not going to be nested with anything, so I can open the seam if I choose. And we'll press that flat. So we have J now. It's part of the bird's head. We'll decide that. So for J, I need a K. Just want to draw the line only because I can't see, and I want to make sure that I get that to 1 point. Oop. I'm sewing on the line. This is not a half square triangle. This is going to fold over like that. That's going to be the top part of the bird's head. Open that up, and we'll press that flat. So on the other side of the head, we have an eye. That's why I said I know 1, 2. It looks like I needed 2 of these, so I'm gonna have to cut another one of those. So it's gonna go. So there is like a little knot for her eye. I will decide on what I'm going to do for the eye as well. So I do have floss that I could use for her eye. Knowing me, I probably have a small button that I'm never going to use for anything else that I could use for the eye as well. And even though Arve doesn't have any confidence in her skills, you can see how quickly this is going together. So, I'm going to press that, finger press that open, and then we'll press that part. So now the bird part of the body is done. The pieces, right, for all of this. So we still have this part to make, and we have that part to make. This needs to be sized, and everything needs to be put together. That's part of her beak. I need a 2-inch piece. Line everything up. the way it's supposed to go. Trim off the excess. Turn this around. Line everything up. Trim off the excess. Okay, this up with 2. So these 2 should go together. So we are making a Christmas stocking for my Christmas in July series. This is a free pattern by Tilda. Of course, I'm going ambitious. There are easier patterns to make simple stockings. And I have a lot of simple stockings, and I have a lot of complex stockings. Okay, so it's like that. There should just about be a 1/4 inch here, because I don't want to lose that point. And we'll finger press this open. And then we'll attach the head and the wing to the body. So we need the tail and the beak. So that'll go on there like that. Now, if I felt some kind of way, and I could still do it, if I wanted the bird's beak to be a different color, this would be the time to make that beak a different color. So that beak could be brown. That beak could be orange. Because it's not that hard. Because I'm not rushing. Trust the process. Trust the process. It's not that difficult. It's a lot of parts, right? So it looks like it could be difficult, but it's not difficult. Okay. Oh. Look, what you think I'm doing? Okay, cool. Got that straightened out. Okay, so far, right? So I think because I have I don't want to go too bright. So these are all of the scraps. Yeah, that'll work. I think. I can always go back to my scrap bag. And these are all scraps. The only thing that was yardage was the cream. Okay. So each this is going this way. Okay. So H had a piece of I, right? And I decided to go with something just a little bit different. And actually, like the body was not, it's not the same color. Even though when I cut it out like that, I cut it out thinking like that, but I don't want to do that. So this is a piece of scrap because I was going to make this the nose. And it wouldn't have been bad, but I need another. I know I cut something out. No, these are all whole pieces. I need another piece of one. So I'm just going to cut the excess off of here just to line that up. And then I need a 1-inch piece of this that I don't have because I cut one too short. Oops. And then we're going to attach that to that. So we have this piece, and that piece. Done. It looks like that, and that's the beak. So then H, this is G, so this should be 5 inches. So it looks like it should be 5 by 5. So I can trim this up a little bit. If needed, only because that tail looked a little wonky. I had a little excess sitting out here. So I do want that edge to be a little straight. I want everything to stay within 5 inches. Square. I'm gonna have just a little bit over here. Good. So now that's nice and straight. This should be 5. I just want to straighten that up a little bit. I'm just trying to make sure everything is nice and straight. I don't want to cut it short. So it looks like that. Ooh. So I usually use my other scissors, but somebody is being very lazy and she doesn't want to get up and walk to get them. So she is using her regular scissors. So I have gangers, and that's what I tend to use. I have not tried the Guggenheim. Okay. Whew. Had to make sure. So it's a small piece, but you can see her beak. His, her, whatever you want to call the bird. It could be his beak. Okay, we're going to press that open. So we now have H on here. We can add G, and then we can work on an OPQR. Okay, so that's what the bird looks like so far without his tail. Now I have a lot of these clips I no longer need. Oops, so I dropped some on the floor. I'm going to move some of these out the way. And let's attach.
What would you like to attach?
Okay. I ain't talking to you all this night. So you can buy them, and they're called alphabet clippies. And then there was somebody who showed us how to make them, and so I made mine. And to be honest with you, for as what I paid for to make them, I should have just bought them. So you can get them from the Fat Quarter Shop, and then some local quilt shops. So for years I was using Post-its and I used cards. Okay, there we go with her nose. But I finally just decided, girl, let's try these. So these are clips. And they're about 1 inch. And to make them, like I went on to the Zon, I found the clips, and I used a piece of, I made a template for the letters and the numbers. I used a piece of cardstock, printed them out on cardstock, laminated them. They come, what do you call that? There's an adhesive on this side, and then you just pop them right on top. The alpha clippies would do the same thing. Hey, Gloria. Okay, so this side is done. So far we have this side done. We need to do the tail. So we need O, M, we need O, N, N, O, P, Q, and R. So O and P. Our next up, we're going to do a diagonal. It's going to go this way for the tail. Okay. Take off that little excess. Finger press that in place. And then we'll just press it with the iron. Okay. So once that's together, we can add N and Q to either side of that. Okay. Let's get rid of some of these little strays. So that's the bottom part of Q. We'll add the top part for M. Let's add it the right way. There's the tail. Hey, Sabs. We'll press that out. Tail's done. Doesn't matter the order. So I'm gonna add R. And then I can add and then once I add these two together, the middle section is done. I am doing well. Ooh, I love when those points point. Especially when I forget to make sure that they point and they automatically point. How are you doing, my love? Okay, let's move these out the way. Line those up. Okay. And that bird is together. Still have a lot of strays. Oh, wow. Let me just give it a little bit of a spray. I don't want to do much because I hate when my fabric shrinks on me. Don't need this. I just want to give it just to kind of help it flatten out just a little bit, just a little bit more. Cool. So we have our second section. We have our first section. And because I'm impatient, I can put 1 and 2 together. Just trying to make sure everything lines up. Okay. And boom. So we're just going to give that a good press. And we'll give it one good final press, but so far so good. And you can still see, like, this is going to be huge. Okay. So we'll set this over here, because I still have to add the top. So the top is 11 by 3 and a and that ain't it. That ain't it. These I didn't mark. Did I cut this and I didn't mean to cut this? Ooh. Yep. That's why I cut this one. Okay. So I'll go back and cut another one. Okay. So we're on the last part, which is right there. And it's the same as the top, except this time there are 4 leaves and there are just the 2 sides. So we have the 2 sides. 1, 2. Remember, I did this one. I didn't mean to do it. So that unit's done already. And I need 1 more of these. So since I messed up that 1 unit, 3.5 square, I can do I can do the 3.5 and then do the 11. Why do I still have another A? I don't know why I have another A. I'll find it shortly, slowly but surely. This is 2.5. So I'm just measuring for my 2.5 inch block measured twice, cut once, and I'm telling you, I'm gonna find all these other blocks. But I thought I organized them, and clearly I didn't. Okay, cool. So we need one to go this way. We'll line those up. Okay, so that's the first one. This is 2. Let's turn that this way. It is all the same. No. We'll add this one. So again, we are working on a Christmas stocking. This is from Tilda's World. Tilda Fabrics. And it is a free pattern. And free is for me. This is part of my Christmas in July series. Because if you're not gonna go big, you need to go home. Look at that one there. So now all of the leaves are connected to their other sides. Like she has berries, if you will. And I may decide to add those later as buttons instead of applique. So these are all appliqued on all those circles. And I am an applique person. I love doing applique, but I don't know that I want to do circles that size as applique. And I may change my mind before I end up putting all of this together. Cool, that's one. So I am opening up the seams and pressing. And I think, I'm almost positive, that I have buttons, red buttons upstairs for the berries. And I just want to make sure that all of my leaves are in the right place. They're not one right underneath of the other. And that they're not going in the wrong direction. Okay. We'll turn them this way. We'll need that clip. Okay, good job, girl. Good job. Because I twisted it around the first time, but I managed to fix it without needing to seam rip. Okay. So then this looks like this. And you know what? I just realized I did this wrong. That's what I get for bragging so fast about not seam ripping. I forgot that this belonged in here. That's what you get. Okay. I'm sitting right here looking at it, and I'm still doing it wrong. That is what I get. But it wouldn't be me if I didn't have to take something out. Hey, Frida, how are you doing, darling? Thank you for getting your daily heart made. Okay. Take that out, take that out. Just want to make sure that I kind of, sort of, somewhat press those down. And we will take them all out and then we will refix them. So that means that I'm going to have to stitch them in the other, like they're going to go like this. Actually, I may not have to take them all out. This goes up here, down here. Okay, okay, girl. That works. And then this one would go like that. Yes, ma'am. Won't he do it? Okay. And maybe, let's see. It works. It works. Yes. Okay. I ain't mad at it. So I didn't have to seam rip them, even though I did do one, but that's okay. Boom, bam. Let's try this again. So it looks like this. And then we're gonna add that to that. Okay. So we'll press this. Even though, for some reason, D doesn't look as long as it should. I mean, T doesn't look as long as it needs to look. And it may be that my measurements may be a little off because my foot is a little janky. This is definitely 8.5. And this is just a little bit more than 8.5. But that's okay. Because what I will do is I'll trim that excess off. So that'll be fine. So when I line those up, be a little bit off. I should have just changed the seams, but both of these are the same. So those bottom leaves will be all right. That'll be fine. I need to press these seams open. Or I could have just cut a 9-inch piece. But I think what's going to end up happening is those sides are going to be 8.5 and it's going to be thrown off. So it'll just be easier to size everything down. And it's not off by much, so it'll be fine. Okay, I'm going to flip this one to this side. Now this is tight because this is 3/4 of an inch. So it's only going to leave like a little slither. Okay. And now it looks better. So I'm trying to push these in. I think I'm just going to press these to the other side because they're going to drive me batty to do it any other way. So we're just trying to get these seams to lay as flat as we can. We use just a little bit of spray starch to help lay them flat. Okay. Because I promised myself that I would fix what I messed up. Take that off the bottom. And we have S on one side and we have U on the other. And then all the piecing for this is done. Except for the pieces that are gonna go around to make the stocking. But that all those little intricate parts on the inside of the stocking. So all of this is done. probably would have been done a couple minutes ago had I have not screwed up that one part. Okay, so that'll go that way. U goes on this way. Good, good. Now, pull your thread up. Came out of the hook. I don't know how, but that's okay. It happens. There we go. Okay. And there goes that part. So we'll press those open, press those seams to one side. I'm not pressing them open. This sits underneath the bird. Let's get rid of some couple strays. Now, I said that the pillow from Tilda was big. And then when I saw the boot of the stocking, I said, oh, that's big. So I guess Tilda said either go big or go home. Okay. So there we go. We'll flip this over. Okay. So now for the boot of the stocking, they have you add an 11 by 5 and then a 4.5 by 11. Now I didn't mark these because they didn't give us anything for these. So this is 5. I remember the top I still need to cut because I cut out a piece. Oops. So I need to go back and fix that. And this is all just extra fabric to cut the boot out. Okay, So that's still, like, this still isn't the length of it. But even if you wanted, like, could you imagine this being like part of a garment? So this absolutely could be part of the front part of your jacket. If you were doing quilted jacket, this could be the back part of your jacket. Like, there are just so many things that you can use quilted pieces for. You do not have to be stuck with just making a stocking or a quilt. There is just like a loose end on this side. This is not going to go all the way up. I had an extra A, I don't know why. I don't know why I cut out two. But that's okay. And it doesn't fit what I needed to fit. But I'll use that scrap for something, I'm sure. You know it. I am all about using the scraps. You just I went to print out the pattern, and I only needed 2 pieces for the scoop of the foot, and I forgot to say the page selection, and it said 56 pages. I was like, what? And it's not 56 pages of directions. They're showing you how to do each one. They're giving you the color layout for each one, no matter whether it's the white, it's the cranberry, or the green. My attitude was, I could see what they are. So I only need one set of directions. But anybody who wanted to print out all that, more power to them. I'm gonna just give this a good starch, just to kind of help it lay a little flatter. So typically, when I go to quilt it, I will really, really, really press and starch. That way it gets everything to lay nice and flat. And I still have the top before I do anything else that I didn't add, because we goofed that one up. I do want to lay this nice and flat. You just do it as a sew along, and we go through each step. Okay. So far, and we just need that one piece up here, 11 by 3.5. Because Jennifer messed up. Now, if I didn't want to cut a whole piece, this is 3. I could get an 11. I could just do that. Let me just do that. There's no sense in cutting. Like, that extra ½ inch isn't gonna matter. So I'm gonna press this, and then I'm just gonna do it at a ½ inch. Thank you. When I saw it, I was like, yes, I have to do this. Now, this is a little bit different from the other traditional ones, unless I decide to change it. This does not have that little white top at the top, and they bind it on the outside. So I haven't decided if I want to do that yet or not. Okay. Because this one's 3.5. And it just like makes sense to go ahead and use this 3.5 by, it's 11, right? That's why cut another whole piece out of this. Then I could save that for something else. I mean, I might need it. Nope, I got the back already. Had to make sure I didn't cut into that back. I cut a piece for the back and threw that off to the side. Yeah, we don't want to get a straight end. And then we'll do the other side. 10.5. This has a 1/2 inch on this end, so I have to do it a little bit shorter to get the exact measurement. Okay. And then we can add this up to the top. I may quilt this on the long arm tomorrow, because you know me, I'm not gonna stay up. Well, I won't say that, because you know I will stay up. But I do want to decide how I'm gonna quilt it. So since we're not working on the exploding heart tomorrow, we could work on I could quilt this one. Okay, let's slide those out the way. Let's just want that to lay really flat. So my suggestion is, even if they suggest to do something else, I would quilt this first and then cut. Okay, so I'm not going to cut this just yet. Let me turn that just a little bit that way. Okay, so you can see like the edge of this foot. Now let me make sure I have the right one. Let me show you what I did. So this is the bottom half of the boot. That's how big this is, right? So this is the bottom half of the boot. This was my regular paper. But when I went to measure it, the measurements didn't line up. So 5 inches, this is wrong. It's backwards, but still. It was 5 inches was bigger this way than it was on this. So when I did it in A4, you can see how much bigger A4 is to just regular paper. So that's why, yeah, it makes a difference. So what's going to happen is this is going to sit here. And we're going to cut out all the way around here. And that's what's going to give us that boot down at the bottom. So all this stays, and then all this gets done. So this is whatever is going to be on the inside of this. When it gets quilted, this might not be long enough, right? But just to give you an example, this is just plain old muslin fabric, so I can use this opposed to using you know, some regular fabric. And what I could do is piece it together because you're never going to see the inside of it. So I could use this. Again, this is scrap. So this becomes a completely scrappy project. So I'll probably sew these two together, and then I'll add the batting in here, and I'll decide what to quilt, like how to quilt this. Whether now in the pattern, she used, and not that you guys can see that really well, but see how she used like little swirls all around it. She did feathers inside of each of the leaves. She did like loops and loops for the bird. She left the stem alone and then just did swirls throughout. But you can see how she chose, or whoever, right? They did the binding around this. So they bound the whole thing around, opposed to just turning it inside out. I like that look for it because it doesn't have that top going across it. And then you can see like these are the little berries. And she did the turn under method. So she actually turned the circles under and then probably hand stitched those on. And those are not quilted. So she probably, or he or whoever probably did those last. If I did them, I would cut them out and just stitch around them. And that's what I don't want to do. So I could use buttons instead. So that's what I'm trying to decide on what I want to do for that. Do I want to use buttons? Or do I just, you know, for once in my life, do something with hand? So yeah. So far, like I said, here is, and this is like just not a good, there's a better angle. So here is the final like layout, if you will, for the stocking. So the next thing for this is to get the lining together for it, because the back is going to look just like this. So I'm going to get the lining for it. I'm going to quilt it. I don't know if they tell us to quilt the back too. That's personal preference, because if you're not going to use it for anything other than decoration, nobody's going to see the back. Thank you. Nobody's going to see the back of it, and it's not, to me, it's not going to matter. But if it matters to you and you want both, you can quilt both sides. So then I could just put the other piece on with it, quilt both of them, get the quilting out of the way, and then just do it from there. But that's totally up to you. You could use fusible fleece, so then it would automatically stick to this, and then you could cut it out so you wouldn't have to do as much quilting. So that's a way for a newbie or somebody that's interested in doing this but doesn't want to do the quilting. Fusible fleece will kind of sort of get you around that because it will stick to this. And then what I might suggest is like stitch in the ditch just to kind of hold it in place and give it a little bit of pop. That way your leaves will pop out a little bit more, the bird will pop out a little bit more. The suggestion is to use floss right here for the eye, or you could use a button. So that's totally up to you from there. But you can absolutely do this any way that you want. But this is, like I said, so far, this is what we have done for this. Like I said, I will probably think through some things for tomorrow to quilt this. Depends on how long it's going to take my hairdresser to do my hair. But we will come back to this. And of course, you know, I have like a couple other projects that I will be working on because it is Christmas in July. So we will be up part 2 quilting this, but this is the construction of the top, if you will, of the piece that we will be using for the Christmas stocking. So again, thank you everybody for joining me for putting this together. Yes, RV, we got this together quickly. It did not take that long to put this whole thing together. Yes, ma'am, Christmas in July. So stay tuned. Thank you, thank you, thank you, RV. You are the GOAT as always. For tapping that screen, because I know that like that's RV's thing for me. And I truly appreciate you. And I will see everyone later. I will post this and have this as a replay on the other app so that if you want to see it and follow along, you can. So until then, happy quilting, happy sewing, and Merry Christmas in July.